Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. This is SNN, Least Busted Name in News. We're talking about headlines, Schmedlines, here on November 15th. Good morning, sir. Shall I contact the news agencies and tell them you're about to rise? Very well, sir. I would also like to quickly remind viewers to not be irreplaceable, in that if you are irreplaceable, you cannot be promoted. More on that later, at another time, on another occasion, in another place. And we're going to do some headlines. And what do you think? What do you think it's going to be all about? You think it's going to be something interesting, something utterly lame, something that you don't care at all about? Will it be, or will it be something else? So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to a very interesting website, and perhaps some of you are familiar with it. It's, yes, the HuffPo, otherwise known as HuffPost.com. And let's see what's going on. Trump inches towards standing down, as there's lots of news in the headlines and on Twitter. Let's crack it open. And elsewhere, about how Trump's talking about conceding. Look, they got him with a pensive look on his face. And not a Mike pensive look. A look of dis-ease. Not that he has a disease, but he did have a disease. And he surely recovered awfully quickly, didn't he? In any case, pro-Trump MAGA march leads to violent clashes, at least 20 arrests. I wonder if it was the Trump supporters who were engaging in violence. What do you think? Would you like to leave a comment about this? If you shall, we will place your comment on the screen. Let us know if there's some story you'd like us to cover, by the way. Yes, apparently 20 people were arrested in D.C. when about, I don't know, a million MAGA march. I don't know what exactly was going on there. I don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, and I wouldn't go to a million MAGA march if I was salaried by Soros and the Trump campaign. No thanks. I have actual things to do. Apparently what happened is several other cities also on Saturday saw gatherings of Trump supporters unwilling to accept Democrat Joe Biden's Electoral College and popular vote victory as legitimate. Now, I don't know what HuffPo's talking about, because there has been no Electoral College votes. That happens on, I believe, December 14th. So I don't know what they're talking about, but cries of "stop the deal and count every vote" continued in spite of a lack of evidence. Geez, I think you might lack a little bit of journalistic integrity there, HuffPo. What is going on with that? Just to suggest that there is no kind of issue at all with the election is just insane, as a bunch of votes have already been trashed as far as I know. Again, leave us a comment if you've noticed anything going on about this, as I find it very interesting. And please tell us if you've seen a Joe Biden rally this year. Let us know how that was going. And also in the comments, please let us know if you would like to see national mask mandates, national lockdowns, or would you prefer to see the COVID shrink down to the point where it's the size of a virus? You think masks is a good idea, or do you think masks is an idiotic idea? Let us know in the comments. Perhaps we'll even read it. Or would you prefer to see COVID come back in like a Jupiterian death moon, threatening like Nibiru to cover up all of civilization? So yeah, let us know your stance on that. We're very interested. And if you know less about infectious diseases than one flake of the dander of a cheetah, then I don't know. And yep, it's Lansing. Lansing 1 says the incredible shrinking COVID. Yeah, the incredible shrinking COVID. So anyway, let's get back to HuffPo. Now, I of course forecasted, by the way, that COVID would vanish in 2021, as 2021 is not an election year. Let's see what else HuffPo's talking about. Now, they're talking about Syria. Syria marks 50 years of Assad family rule. Now, I know somebody who's gone to Syria like every summer for the past 3 or 4 or 5 years. Actually, probably more like the past 30 years, because he's originally from there. And I didn't see ruins. I don't know. I don't know what the propaganda is about Syria. I have a feeling it has to do with the fact that they don't use fiat currency. Yeah. Must just be a coincidence that giant banking corporatocracies don't like Syria. Who could have guessed? Anyway, I won't go farther into that because I don't want to have the channel deleted entirely. That wouldn't be a badge of honor or anything. Shout out to Tony Heller on a related note. Let's see what's going on in Minnesota. GOP state Senate warns only Republicans of COVID outbreak. Okay. Apparently, Minnesota GOP members are only giving out warnings to people of their own political party. Oh my God, it sounds like fascism. And if it is, HuffPo's certainly going to come up with it. Let's see what the story is. Let's see what they claim the story is. Please leave a comment if you believe what HuffPo has to say about Minnesota Republicans, or if they've perhaps shattered their integrity over the past 4 and indeed dozen years. Is the HuffPo even a dozen years old? How old is the HuffPo? Can anybody let us know? State Republican Chief of Staff Craig Sontag, which sounds like a Nazi name right there. Craig Sontag. Yeah, Craig Sunday. Man, that sounds evil. His great-grandfather was probably an SS general. Anyway, he alerted Republicans to the outbreak in a memo on Monday. I'm sorry, not a memo on Monday, a memo on Tuesday, and instructed all GOP Senate staffers to work from home, the Star-Tribune reported Saturday. Meanwhile, Democrats went in and killed Grandma by showing up. But there wasn't a peep to state Democrats who attended a special floor session Thursday amid the secret outbreak. Oh my God, they're trying to kill them outright. Holy crow, it's politics at its silliest. Governor Tom Waltz, who likes to do a two-step, said COVID-19 doesn't operate along party lines, and neither can we. If we know of a positive case, we have a moral obligation to share that information with others so they can protect themselves and families. I don't understand why Republicans chose to share positive cases only with members of their own party, putting staff and other senators at risk. I don't either. I'll bet the Democrats found out in about 2 minutes, though. Because somebody probably said, we should probably tell the guys across the aisle, eh? And the gals? Yeah? No? Oh? Background. Republicans used every safety measure to prevent COVID spread. And here's their memo. It's been misconstrued for political purposes that we only notified our members and staff. The only people in close prolonged contact with COVID-positive GOP senators were GOP senators and some GOP staff. Sondag's memo lays out the concerns we all have for an individual's right to privacy, along with the right to know about a positive COVID test. Again, no one from the Republican caucus with a known positive COVID test or COVID symptoms attended the special session. The risk to other members was no more than previous special sessions. Cheers. At least HuffPo printed it. Anyway, guess what? I don't care. Because I still don't think it's dangerous. And I don't know that I'll ever be convinced that it's dangerous. By the way, congratulations on living in a condensed matter universe. That's why I have this lovely light-emitting lattice behind me. It makes the SMASH News Network a little more bright and cheery. You know, because we wouldn't want to expose too much stuff we wouldn't want to expose too much stuff here at the SMASH News Network. Because, you know, you wouldn't want to cause any sort of stuff to happen. All right, so do we have any more chatters? Chatterboxes? No chats? All right. Let's go to another news source here. We're just going to kick in a second door here. This is we're going to Newsmax. So we covered 2 stories from HuffPo. Let's cover 2 stories from Newsmax. Headline on Newsmax is Trump to New York Post. Election is the greatest theft in history of America. I'm not sure. I think the COVID might have been the greatest theft in the history of America. But to Trump, if that's what he said, he probably believes it to be true. Here's a quick, there you go. Greatest theft in history of America. What say you? Shall I click the story? I think I will. Since a headline is inherently out of context, let's read it in context. On Sunday, Trump tweeted he won apparently in reference to Biden because the election was rigged, Trump wrote. No vote watchers or observers, all caps, allowed. Vote tabulated by a radical left privately owned company, Dominion, with a bad reputation and bum equipment. Not the clothing manufacturer from the 1990s. Please tell me you're not wearing a bum equipment jumper with a bum equipment sweatshirt underneath it and tight rolled bum equipment cuffs on your pants. Please tell me you never wore bum equipment. Anyway, apparently Dominion, according to Trump, has bum equipment that wouldn't even qualify in Texas, which Trump won by a lot. The fake and silent media and more. Apparently the word Dominion is now a word to not use, so if you're doing a video about Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Voyager, don't make today's episode about those shape-shifting folks in the D word, because you will find your video mysteriously demonetized because you've said the D word too many times. Don't say it. Anyway, it was a rigged election 100% and everybody knows it, Trump said in the Friday night interview. It's going to be that I got about 74 million votes and I lost. It's not possible. Okay. I don't know. I haven't been counting votes. But let's just do a little quote here, because this reminds me of something very important, a quote that a lot of people should probably know. Apparently there's a quote that was misattributed to Stalin. I don't know. I thought Stalin said, those who cast the votes decide nothing, and those who count the votes decide everything. Apparently, it may have been misattributed. I don't really know, but it does make a good point, doesn't it? In that, if you would like a Stalinist revolution takeover, wouldn't it be logical for you to rig the vote count? If you are in charge of all aspects of the economy, wouldn't you like to rig the vote count? Wouldn't you then have more power than the actual voter? If you can completely rig it? Just saying. By the way, have you heard stories about Dominion computers and raids on Dominion server banks and so on? What's going on with that D-word company, folks? I don't get it. Is it making you a little bit angry? All right, so there's one story from Newsmax. Let's go back here. Get Stalin's stupid-looking face off of the screen. And let's check out another headline here, perhaps an entire article on Newsmax. Is it objective? I don't know. CNN probably claims it's far right, it's funded by Nazis or something. I don't know. I don't really care. We're going to go to Zero Hedge after this, so just give me a minute. Bill O'Reilly predicts collapse of major cable news networks. Geez, I couldn't imagine why that would be. Who would want to pull their funding from news networks that are obviously promoting fraud? Is it making you a little mad? Would you like to put out the fire by pulling your ads off of cable news networks? I certainly would. I mean, would you seriously spend advertising dollars advertising on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News? Would you advertise on any of those sites? Seriously? Leave us a comment. Let us know if you would. Because it sounds like a ridiculous idea. I certainly wouldn't do it. Anyway, let's pull another post here from Newsmax. What else is going on in terms of headlines, Schmedlines? Politics today. I don't know. Sci and Tech? Nope. We're just staying on the homepage here. According to Giuliani, a certain D-word company shouldn't be counting votes anywhere. Leave us a comment if you're from a contested state. Apparently, according to Stephen Moore, Trump's a little grouchy about election results. Could you blame him? Here we go. How about this one? This sounds great. Biden's advisors meet vaccine firms as Trump stalls handoff. Oh, man. Did that make your day? Oh, man. Hey, do you go around wearing a mask as a beard? I'm just wondering. Also, I would like to know if you've checked out smAsho.com. smAsho.com has recently been updated. We've put 2 videos on the home page now. Yes, we're getting very fancy. Now, we've had the capability the whole time. And so if you go to the home page, it's the official home page of the SMASH News Network. So head to the home page. The social media links are all behind that arrow there. That lovely drop-down menu, drop-out, slide-out, drawer menu thingy. If you head down here, check out our latest mask. We've started making masks, folks, yes. And look, oh my God, it's condensed matter. So check out the latest mask, Condensed Masker. Yes, the cloth face mask. It's available in all kinds of colors. I thought I only made it in black, but apparently you can get it in all these colors. So cheers. Anyway, it says condensed matter matters. And it's got, so I don't know. Maybe you like it, maybe you dislike it. I don't care. We've got some t-shirts also with the same design here. And we've put it in gold. There it is in black. It also looks quite nice. Just launched yesterday. It's not the official T-shirt yet of the Smash News Network. But, yeah, so... Again, thanks for leaving more comments, Lansing. I will put those on the screen momentarily. Let me get back to... get back to an anti-sciencer. Again, visit smAshomash.com to see all of our social media links and stuff. We're on all kinds of different social medias. And I apologize for all the keystrokes. I'd be stroking too many keys here, folks. My fingers are getting tired here at the Smash News Network. So, you've got... Let me get a better background for you here, folks. Here, this will be sweet. There you go. It's a giant image of Joe Biden. A giant image of Joe Biden with a mask on his face. That's perfect. That's the perfect companion to this video. So yeah, he's, I don't know, maybe he can't grow a good beard. I guess he's got hairy legs. Please leave a comment if you've touched Joe Biden's hairy legs while he's in a pool and watched the hair come back up or whatever he was saying. Lansing 1 says the media is trying to convince us that the only evil is the zombies on TV. Ah, yeah, it's like the media is the Walking Dead along with big tech. They're just walking along like zombies without any credibility or any sort of trust from anybody, who just assumes that they're lying all the time and cooking everything. They've done a great job destroying information itself. Yes, thanks to big tech and to the media. Well done. Here's a slow clap for you. You've officially destroyed information itself by everybody who doesn't have the discernment to be able to read a story and notice when it's BS. Lansing says, in all his life, he's never seen anything like it. Yes, it's a pandemic. It's a propaganda pandemic. Yes, let's have an even bigger, let's have more Joe. Let's have more Joe and more government. Sounds like a great idea. As the government is so efficient at everything it does, let's make it much bigger. Yeah, let's have national mask mandates, even though they're utterly ineffective at containing viruses. And they're utterly incoherent. Like certain people who may come to mind. Lansing 1 says Trump and Biden should have a duel. Either that or put them in a boxing ring. Now Lansing has now officially taken over our live stream, so we're going to evoke Lansing's statements here and not invoke them, as we don't want to be demonically possessed. Yes, he looks Amish. Look at that beautiful, beautiful face. Look at that beautiful, beautiful hair that somebody missed. Right there. Please leave a comment if you're watching in 8D. Or 8K, I mean. Let us know if you're watching in 8K. Alright, so let's get to some more stories here. We're going to scroll zero hedge. And I'm not going to click on any stories. Trump has just cited that he concedes nothing, which Paul Joseph Watson and I could have both told you, as I retweeted what Paul Joseph Watson said. He's conceded nothing. Winter is coming. And, yeah, there are some issues with the economy. Biden advisors have started meeting with vaccine makers. Interesting. Interesting. Have you seen the map on Epoch Times, EPOCH Times? Looks like we have some market moves here. Some kind of market breakout has happened as a result of Pfizer. People believe that a vaccine is going to save them from a virus. And perhaps it will, but it's unnecessary regardless. Because you're much better off. Well, okay, I'm not going to say anything about it. And by the way, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just an anti-unproven vaxxer. And if your immune system is much, much more powerful than eensy-weensy little COVIDs, then you probably shouldn't really like worry about, hey, because if it's, COVID, you're such a ham. You're such a ham, COVID. Get out of here. Yeah, if you move back closer to the green screen, yeah, that's fine. Okay, you can hang out, COVID. Some claim the Great Reset's already happened. Have you noticed that your currency's been inflated? I wonder what the basket of goods look like. What does the government seem to think the inflation numbers really are? Let's see. Let's look up inflation estimates, as it's a fairly interesting thing. Let's see how much the money's been inflated since last year. How about that? How much is the money inflated from the last year? Allegedly only 1.9%. That's usinflationcalculator.com. I don't know what that is. Anyway, are you aware that the basket of goods that is used to calculate the, quote, inflation rate, end quote, is regularly manipulated in order to make it look like inflation is lower or higher than it needs to be? If it's not high enough, it's, hey, no, stay where you are. All right. As items are manipulated in the basket of goods that is used to determine the inflation rate, as the Federal Reserve says, we want the inflation rate to be a little over 2.5%. So we're going to print money if it's not high enough, and we're going to ease. I mean, we're going to print less money if it's 2.5%, we're going to print a little more money. If it's 2%, we're going to print more than that. And if it's 3%, then we're going to ease off, and we're going to sell some of our assets, right? Sadly, it doesn't seem to happen. All they do is print more money. So in any case, most of the stimulus that came out in 2020, folks, I don't know if you're aware of this, was money printed out of thin air. Now, of course, all of the other major currencies essentially did the same thing, so it covers up the whole thing. The real point is you should be looking at gold to dollar ratio. Anyway, I don't want to get into a big economics video here. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Yeah, central bankers, the largest block of business in the world is the interest on international and commercial loans. And since the price tag on that block of business, which would be the interest rate on said blocks of business, since the price tag of that is the interest rate, if that interest rate can be artificially controlled by a cartel of banks, is that a free market? Ask yourself. Just ask yourself. Go ahead, I dare you. You might not like the answer. All right, so back to Lansing 1, our only commenter apparently. Lansing 1 says, his father and two uncles fought Hitler, and now it seems like we're doing it again. All right. Would that be a ghostly fight of Hitler? Or in the 1950s, commercials on TV banks tried to get... In the 1950s, commercials on TV, banks tried to get you to save money and get interest. Yeah, save money. Please leave us a comment if you're an American who actually does that. Did you spend less money? Did you actually accrue money between your current paycheck and your previous paycheck? Your most recent paycheck and your 2 paychecks ago. Yes, the 60s. Yes, credit cards. Yes. As all the inflation is built on debt. And I'm not going to get into a big Austrian economics thing here. We got to go back to a right-wing news source, I guess the Washington Examiner will use, since we started with HuffPo. The Orwellian pandemic. Yeah, it's a pandemic of propaganda, folks. A pandemic of propaganda. And there's so much nonsense, both on the internet and on the mainstream media, and it's completely being supported by giant corporations, big tech, and the media. So, if you've ever seen fear-mongering, propaganda, nonsense, lies, and disinformation, and really an affront to science itself, that's 2020, baby. Everybody who's completely incompetent is jumping up and down and saying, look at me, I'm utterly incompetent. It's the year of clarity, as I accidentally forecasted last year. I mean, I almost wish I hadn't forecasted it because, well, look at it. The only silver lining that I see is that 2021 will be the year of accountability. Let's hope so. So we've moved over to the Washington Examiner now, which is I guess it's a legit conservative news source. I really don't know. I really don't care. But anyway, I guess the lead headline here is Pence treads carefully as he navigates election controversy. As nobody wants to say something that's wrong right now, everybody's going to freak out and jump on anything that's said. Oh, we've got an article about Bernie. We got to cover this. Bernie Sanders. Bernie's seeking Labor Secretary position of Biden administration. So, what do you think about that? Do you think Bernie would make a good Labor Secretary? Bernie doesn't even understand why not to have a $15 per hour minimum wage, and he's a supply and demand denier. Because why do you need the choice of 27 different underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers while children are hungry in this country? It's because Bernie caters to people and he offers up free stuff in order to allay your fears. So Bernie's nonsense gimmick is to say, hey, everybody, I'm going to give you stuff that's for free. And I don't know if you're aware of history, but just last year, places in California instituted a $15 minimum wage. And guess what that caused? It caused McDonald's to upgrade. McDonald's said, we're sick of these cashiers anyway. We need people who can make burgers. So you're fired. You're laid off. We don't need you. Because we have automated kiosks. You can go and push buttons now instead of arguing with some dummy about what you want on your Big Mac. Yeah, I would prefer automated kiosks. I don't need the cashier there. And a cashier at McDonald's isn't worth $15 an hour. So those places will be lucky if they can stay open, period. The real wage is $0 an hour. And when the government institutes a nationwide $15 minimum wage, guess what happens? Nobody's employed in Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, etc. At least not legally. So when the government does things like this, it creates all sort of under-the-table situations, and it's nonsense. It shouldn't be interfering in this stuff to begin with. And Bernie would 100% interfere in this stuff. Let's play a clip if it'll play.
Person's got to do immediately with a COVID-19 package is start protecting the working families.
Hey, Bernie, I'll show you a package. Just kidding.
Families in this country.
So we're out of time, but I just want to get a yes or no, because you said this week you'd be willing to serve as labor secretary in the...
Bernie says he'd be willing to serve as labor secretary. Gee, he just wanted to be president so recently. Let's see what Bernie has to say about this. As I would certainly endorse Bernie Sanders as chief propagandist. No, he sucks at that. I would put Bernie Sanders. How about Department of Defense? No, he's turned into a war hawk lately. I would put Bernie Sanders. What about if we mummify Bernie? How about that? Mummify Bernie. We could make Bernie the director of mummification. I don't know. And then he could set up a whole department, a whole government department to put him in a Leninist-style tomb, and then people can go visit his corpse, a la Vladimir Lenin. What about that? Let's see what he has to say.
The Biden-Harris administration, if you were asked, have you had any conversations with anyone from the Biden transition team about a possible cabinet post?
Seriously, folks, imagine Bernie as labor secretary. I mean, I don't think he's really going to be able to do very much. However, there is this problem of executive orders, which has been of a rising concern over the past few presidencies. Thanks for leaving comments, Abraham Baker, who says there's one way to destroy a nation: support the takers in eliminating the makers. Yeah! That's why so many people died in Soviet Russia and Maoist China. China. You know what's made in China? COVID. COVID, you made in China. Okay? You cheap Chinese plastic made in China. And I don't care how big you get. You're just in the way of COVID. Everybody's scared of you because you're so spooky. And I'm not going to put up with it, COVID, okay? Okay? Not going to put up with it. You're out of here. You're fired. COVID, you're fired. You're not getting paid for this session. I don't care. Call my people. Tell them to call your attorneys. Okay? You're out of here. You don't want to leave? You're fired. Sick of the COVID, okay? It's cheap Chinese plastic. It's a knockoff of perfectly good American viruses made in the U.S., okay? The U.S. makes the best viruses. Chinese viruses are cheap plastic Chinese junk. Cheap junk stolen from American capital. American capital and ingenuity built the viruses, the most beautiful, the most amazing viruses that have ever been built, okay? Let's get back to Bernie.
I talked to the Biden administration. I want to do my best in whatever capacity as a senator or in the administration to protect the working families of this country.
Oh my gosh, that is a screenshot right there, if I've ever seen one. In fact, that's too good to not tweet. How about Bernie? How about Bernie as labor secretary? Sound great, right? Let's see what else he has to say. Bernie as labor secretary. Yeah, sounds fun. Let's think of who else we can get into the cabinet. How about a little bit of, I don't know. What about, we could have Liz Warren in charge of Indian affairs. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. He could be in charge. Director of the CIA. How about that? Jack Dorsey. Let's see. He's into social justice. We could make him the attorney general, even though he's not a lawyer to my knowledge. Mark Zuckerberg. How about the director of the FBI for Mark Zuckerberg? That would be perfect. That way the same people that got Joe elected could be in charge of the cabinet. Who else? Let's see here. How about Susan Wojcicki, CEO of YouTube? Let's put her as the Joint Chiefs of Staff, or maybe the Secretary of Defense. Secretary of Defense, Susan Wojcicki. And let's see. Attorney General, how about Cory Booker? He seems like a genius. Yeah, leave us a comment if you have any other ideas about Joe's cabinet. Oh, yeah. Kimberly says, Director of Antiquity. That's yes. I don't think we have a Director of Antiquities in the U.S. Let's just go through my Twitter and see if there's anything interesting or trending on Twitter. I'll let you know. Again, everybody, thanks for leaving comments. We got to close this thing out soon, as I've got lots more things to do today. Whether there'll be more content or not is a secret. Go watch our more previous videos. We put out a bunch of like 3 videos today on youtube.com/smAsho. If you're watching somewhere else, I don't know how you'd be doing it, but go watch our older videos. And yeah, let's see what's going on. Oh, the Lakers are trending. The Lakers are my Yankees of basketball. I dislike the Lakers. So I don't care. I'm simply not going to read anything about it. Let's see. Trending. U.S. trends. What do we got? Oh, okay. Hashtag Trump conceded. See, there's some more disinformation. Only 58.5 thousand tweets about that. Ask FFT, fantasy football managers. Oh my gosh, really? NBA trending Rondo. I don't know if that's a Castlevania game. Gucci's trending for some reason. I don't care about that, or the Browns, or Sunday Vibes, or Blackout BTS, or Tiger Woods, or Kyle Rittenhouse. Wow, there must be something interesting happening in the news today because there are no stories. All right, I'm going to go to one more tab here, just for the fun of it, because CNBC has a hard time lying. I mean, obviously about the financial stuff. So I'll bring out the chat one more time. Everybody else who'd like to have a comment read or appear on the screen, leave it now, because we've got to get this thing completed and get to some more stuff. There you go. Now your comments are right next to Trump's face. He's practically kissing you. And by the way, for you viewers who don't understand what my political stance is, I have no party affiliation. And back in the 2016 primaries, I was Rand Paul, and then I was Ted Cruz, and then I was whoever was running against Hillary Clinton. So, Lansing says we'll all be in Siberia, like Ivan Denisovich, and Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Yeah, I think some people still read that, man. Some people are still into it. Welcome to the Neo-Renaissance, folks. Go visit our websites, smAsho.com. Let's see what CNBC has to say. Top headline at CNBC.com is Trump admits Biden won, which is fake news, but still won't concede after falsely claiming election was rigged. So, wow, CNBC, I'm hoping they're going to accurately report on things like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, gold prices, silver prices, cryptocurrency prices, and other stuff like that. But apparently, they might not be so good at reporting on other sorts of news. Now, I don't know if you're aware or not, the entire NBC conglomerate, not the whole conglomerate, but NBC as it is actually owned by Comcast nowadays. So when you see these stories, maybe you should take them with a grain of salt, if not a truckload of salt, because these news agencies, they haven't just jumped the shark. They've reduced their credibility to the point where it's gone. Something the SMASH News Network isn't too keen on doing, because it's very easy to admit when you're wrong, apologize, retract, change your viewpoint. But when you know you're wrong, and everybody knows you're wrong, for months and indeed years at a time, there's no coming back. Let's check the second post here, and it's at least 20 arrested as pro and anti-Trump protesters clash. So at least they didn't try to blame it on the Trump protesters. I'm pretty sure this has the signature of Antifa written all over it. And from whatever side it is, I could care less, because I could care less, I could care more. But the point is, any violence initiated in order to try to frighten people into your political stance is fascism. So I guess that's a perfect note on which to end it. Yeah, 1984 is knocking at your door, baby. It is a pandemic. And when I say a pandemic, I say it's a pandemic of delusion. Delusion and hallucination. Now remember, a delusion is a hallucination that you believe. So don't believe the hype. Listen to reality. Thanks for tuning in to the SMASH News Network. We are out. I've got things to do. I've been the floating SMASho head. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget to visit our links. Support the channel. Visit us on social media, as making these videos is not all we're up to. It's about time for me to vanish, as I've got more fires to extinguish.